Migrating to Microsoft 365 isn't just about installing new software. It's about changing how people work. Once the technical migration is complete, organizations face a second migration, from traditional, file-based work habits to the collaborative, cloud-based way of working Microsoft 365 was built to enable. Although the familiar applications like Word, Excel, Outlook, and PowerPoint looked much the same, the transition represented far more than a software upgrade. It marked a fundamental shift in the way we work. Traditional Microsoft Office was centered around creating and managing documents, while 365 is designed around collaboration, communication, and shared information. This shift has been challenging for many users, particularly because Microsoft 365 is no longer a product that is installed once and remains largely unchanged for years. It is a cloud-based subscription service that is continuously evolving. New features are introduced and existing features are refined. Users must be prepared to adapt, learn, and embrace ongoing improvements. As a result, success with Microsoft 365 is no longer about memorizing where to click. Instead, users need a broader understanding of the platform and what it is designed to accomplish. The goal of this presentation is to build a foundation for understanding Microsoft 365 and help users imagine what's possible. It focuses on the mindset behind the platform so users can adapt to new features, collaborate more effectively, and confidently find the information and guidance they need as new capabilities are introduced. Microsoft designed the platform to improve visibility, reduce duplication, strengthen collaboration, and automate routine work. But to realize these benefits, we have to rethink how information moves through an organization and how people work together. Microsoft didn't simply move Office to the cloud. They created an entire ecosystem where documents, conversations, meetings, tasks, and workflows are connected. Let's start with file storage. Remember searching for a file on a network drive? It might be buried several folders deep in an endless hierarchy. In Microsoft 365, folders still have a purpose, but they're no longer expected to do all the work, or be nested like a never-ending set of Russian dolls. 365 is designed to help you find information in smarter ways, reducing the need for deep folder structures. Instead of building deeper folder structures, it encourages flatter document libraries, supported by meaningful file names, metadata, and permissions. Instead of relying on a file path to find a document, Microsoft 365 is designed to help users find information through search, filters, links, and shared workspaces. In Microsoft 365, files are generally stored in one of two places: OneDrive or a SharePoint document library. The key question is no longer, where should I save this? Instead, it's, who owns this information, and who needs access to it? If the information belongs to you, OneDrive is usually the right place. If the information belongs to a team, a department, or the organization, it belongs in SharePoint. Ownership, not location, is what determines where a file should live. OneDrive is your personal workspace. It's intended for information that you own and manage yourself. That includes drafts, personal notes, work in progress, and documents that aren't yet ready to be shared. Once a document becomes something a team relies on, it should move from your personal workspace into a shared SharePoint library. SharePoint is the organization's workspace. It's where information belongs when it's shared, maintained, or owned by a team rather than an individual. Department documents, committee files, meeting notes, policies, procedures, templates, and project resources are all good examples. The advantage is that the information remains available to everyone who needs it. It isn't tied to one person's OneDrive or dependent on a single employee to maintain access. As a general rule, if a document needs to outlive the person who created it, it belongs in SharePoint. The shift from network drives to Microsoft 365 is more than a change in storage location. It is a shift from location-based thinking to information ownership and shared access. Now that we've talked about where information belongs, the next question is, how do people access it? One of the things that makes Microsoft 365 confusing at first is that the same document can be accessed through Teams, SharePoint, Outlook, a shared link, or even a OneDrive shortcut. These may look like different locations, but they're simply different ways of reaching the same information. A helpful way to think about this is to imagine SharePoint as a library with many doors. You can access the same document library through multiple entry points, including the Microsoft 365 group, the team, or the SharePoint site. You can also add a shortcut to any SharePoint library you have access to in your personal OneDrive, making it easy to find alongside your own files. If you prefer working in File Explorer, you can sync those same folders and files to your desktop for seamless access. Now that we've looked at where information belongs and how it's accessed, the next mindset shift is how we share it. Traditionally, sharing meant making a copy and sending it to someone else, usually as an email attachment. Sending attachments works, but it also creates multiple copies of the same document. As those copies are edited and forwarded, it becomes difficult to know which version is the most current. People may be reviewing different versions, making changes to outdated information, or spending time trying to determine which copy is correct. Microsoft 365 encourages a different approach. Instead of sending copies, it encourages sharing a link to a single document, so everyone works from the same version. This eliminates duplicate files and makes collaboration much easier. When users share a link to the original, everyone accesses the same file, so there's only one version to maintain. Changes are saved in real time, multiple people can collaborate simultaneously, and everyone sees the most current information. The result is a single source of truth. When users embrace link sharing in Microsoft 365, they move from managing copies to managing access. Access can be tailored to the audience. Some people may only need to view the document. Others may be asked to review or comment, while those responsible for maintaining the document can be given editing rights. This allows everyone to work from the same document while ensuring the appropriate level of access for each person. Microsoft 365 also keeps a version history of documents, allowing previous versions to be viewed or restored if needed. This gives teams the confidence to collaborate without worrying that a mistake will permanently overwrite important information. Instead of creating different copies for different audiences, Microsoft 365 uses permissions and version history to manage one shared document. In addition to changing the way we store and share information, 365 also changes the way we communicate. For many years, email became the default tool for almost everything. While email remains an important communication tool, it wasn't designed to manage every type of work. Microsoft 365 provides different communication spaces designed for different purposes, ensuring the right information reaches the right audience instead of relying solely on email. One such tool is Teams Conversations or chats. It is ideal for collaborative discussions, questions, announcements, and decisions that benefit the entire team. Unlike email, discussions remain with the team, creating a shared knowledge base instead of scattered individual inboxes. Another tool is SharePoint sites. Rather than creating another email that eventually gets buried or deleted, SharePoint sites provide a central location for announcements and updates that remain available and searchable. It's designed for broadcasting information. Microsoft 365 also provides a variety of purpose-built workspaces. Planner helps teams organize tasks. Loop supports collaborative planning and shared notes. Forms collects information and feedback. OneNote provides a shared place for meeting notes and reference material. These tools help move conversations and work out of individual inboxes and into shared workspaces where everyone can find the information they need. The result is less email, less duplication, and better visibility for the entire team. So, we've looked at individual mindset shifts, how we store information, share documents, manage permissions, and communicate. Now it's helpful to step back and see how all of these pieces fit together. Microsoft 365 is not just a collection of applications, it is a connected ecosystem made up of tools that are designed to work together. Some of these applications, like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook, are familiar productivity tools that we've used for years. Others, such as SharePoint, Teams, Microsoft 365 Groups, Planner, Lists, Forms, Loop, Power Automate, and Power BI, are newer cloud-based services that connect people, information, and work. Understanding these connections makes it easier to choose the right tool for the job. A good place to start is with Microsoft 365 Groups. A group provides a shared membership for a team of people. When a group is created, Microsoft automatically provisions a collection of connected resources, including a shared Outlook inbox, a shared calendar, a SharePoint site, and a SharePoint document library. These resources all share the same membership and permissions, creating a single collaborative workspace. Microsoft Teams builds on that foundation by adding persistent conversations, meetings, calling, and real-time collaboration. Every team is backed by a Microsoft 365 group and stores its files in the group's SharePoint document library. From there, the ecosystem continues to grow. A team can include a planner board to organize tasks, Microsoft lists to track information, forms to collect data, OneNote for shared notes, and Loop components for collaborative content that stays synchronized wherever it's shared. Power Automate connects these services by sending notifications, routing approvals, updating lists, moving files, and automating repetitive business processes. Power BI can then bring data from SharePoint, lists, Excel, forms, and many other sources together into interactive dashboards and reports, providing real-time insights for decision-making. The power of Microsoft 365 isn't in its individual apps, it's in how they work together. Information entered once can be shared, automated, analyzed, and reused across the platform, creating a connected digital workplace where communication, documents, projects, and data all work seamlessly together. Another important mindset shift with Microsoft 365 is that governance is no longer solely the responsibility of IT. Users now play an active role in managing content, permissions, organization, and collaboration within the platform. In the past, with network drives, most of the structure and governance was controlled by IT. They created the file shares, managed permissions, and determined where information was stored. Users simply saved their files in the folders that had been created for them. Microsoft 365 is different. Users can create teams, SharePoint sites, lists, forms, document libraries, and many other collaborative workspaces, and they often control the permissions within them. This flexibility allows work to happen much more quickly and collaboratively. But with that flexibility comes responsibility. Many of the decisions that IT once made are now shared with the people creating and managing these workspaces. Unfortunately, a common pattern has emerged in organizations that successfully implemented Microsoft 365 from a technical standpoint. The technology was deployed, but users often weren't taught their role in managing this new digital workplace. As a result, many organizations began to experience the same challenges: duplication of teams and SharePoint sites, information stored in multiple locations, inconsistent naming conventions, files that are difficult to find, confusing permissions, and institutional knowledge that becomes difficult to locate when someone changes roles or leaves. Governance helps prevent those problems, not by limiting collaboration, but by providing consistency. When everyone follows the same basic standards, there's a single source of truth for important information. Teams and sites are organized in predictable ways. Documents are easier to find because they're stored where people expect them to be. Permissions are managed more consistently, improving both security and accessibility. New employees can get up to speed more quickly because the environment is organized instead of every department doing things differently. And as people change roles or leave the organization, the information stays with the organization rather than with the individual. In short, governance isn't about adding bureaucracy. It's about making collaboration sustainable as Microsoft 365 continues to grow. We've explored the mindset shifts required of individual users. The final mindset shift belongs to the organization. Individual teams and SharePoint sites work well for departments, committees, and projects, but they shouldn't exist in isolation. Intentional information architecture is what ties those individual workspaces together into a connected digital workplace. Governance ensures those workspaces are created consistently. Information architecture determines how they're connected so employees can easily navigate between related areas, discover information, and understand how everything fits together. In Microsoft 365, hub sites provide that organizational framework. Rather than replacing department sites, hub sites connect related SharePoint sites under a common structure. They provide shared navigation, a consistent look and feel, aggregated news and content, and a unified search experience across related sites. Instead of employees needing to know where information is stored, hub sites help them navigate the organization based on how it's structured. The result is more than a collection of websites. It becomes a connected digital workplace that reflects how the organization actually operates. Changing the way an organization works doesn't happen overnight. Like any meaningful change, adopting a new mindset takes time. Whether your organization has already migrated to Microsoft 365 or is preparing to do so, it's important to remember that the migration isn't just a technology project. It's the beginning of an organizational transformation. Helping people make that shift requires education, reinforcement, and clear expectations. By intentionally investing in education, thoughtful governance, and an evolving hub site structure, organizations can create a Microsoft 365 environment that is organized, connected, and easy to navigate. Over time, those intentional decisions will improve visibility, reduce duplication, strengthen collaboration, and create opportunities to automate routine work. Ultimately, the success of Microsoft 365 isn't determined by the software itself. It's determined by how people choose to use it. The real transformation happens when we change the way we think about information, collaboration, and the way we work together. That's the real Migration 2.0.